Hello, everybody. I'm proud to have a place where First and Second Amendment can meet safely and not be banned by YouTube, by the way, if anybody's listening. So, letting you know that we are aware you're here and you're welcome to join us as well. So, today we have the leaders of organization that is called, very curiously, Locks and Loaded. And what is it about? We have Gayle Pearlstein in the center of our conversation today. Hi, Gayle. She
Hi.
started this whole thing. She's the COO, Chief Operating Officer, and co-founder of Locks and Loaded, and the leader of New York chapter, Greg Khitrov, whom you already know. So, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank
Thank you.
Very
you.
Thank you for
special
Thank you
having
for
guest.
us.
having us.
Tell us the story from the beginning. Tell us the genesis. What
The
was in the
genesis,
beginning?
the genesis of Locks and Loaded.
Yeah.
After October 7th, myself being Jewish and being very impacted in what happened, I very much wanted to do something. I'm a firearms instructor with my own company in Chicago, and I started to offer free lessons to the community. I started to offer free basic pistol and free lessons pretty much. And me being in Chicago, it was very skeptical. We didn't know how it was going to come about. Illinois, well, where I live, is not the most gun friendly place. And it was fantastic. We went from one session to we had to do about four. There was about 50 people in each. Everybody loved it. Everybody wanted more and more and more, and it turned into doing some Shomer Shabbos concealed carry courses, which are 2 days. So I noticed after doing these for the community, and I did it for free more or less. They just paid for the range and ammo. That being a responsible gun owner, there's a lot of questions from beginners that people want to ask and practice. So I needed to think of a way where I could meet everybody at least once a week or once a month, excuse me, at least once a month. And that's how Locks and Loaded got developed. I just kind of thought, what the hey, I'll start it, and it blew up within the first chapter, which is the Chicago chapter. I got over 66 people in a matter of 3 weeks, so it was huge, 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 huge. And then
Fantastic.
from that, thank you, just using social media, I was introduced to Greg over there in Yonkers and Westchester, and people in New York wanted the same thing. They thought it was a wonderful idea, and Greg was very, very, very helpful in introducing me to a lot of people in his area and worldwide, and we were able to start New York. We were able to put up five was it, yeah, five chapters in the state of New York, and hopefully still going. And his chapter is huge. He has almost 80 people.
Wow. A real popular
Was
movement you started, guys.
We tried.
It's really
Yeah.
incredible.
You never know until you try, the old saying goes, right? And
You got
when
to
you
take
want,
that swing.
you get you get to it and it starts all together. The pieces are coming together. So listen, what do you encounter? First, people who came to you guys, and I want you both to answer this question. Uh, what was driving people? Did they share the stories, or they just came and they said, "I want to join, and don't ask me any questions. It's too painful for me to talk about it."
Go
How
ahead,
was
Greg.
it? Did
Yeah, so people come from different walks of lives. From Locks and Loaded, we have folks who've shot for years. Oftentimes, when you go to a range, at least in New York, it might feel very intimidating and, sometimes pushy, let alone you being Jewish. So when they found out about this organization that we're super welcoming, we do bring lox and
Greg
bagels
does.
and cream cheese,
And
um,
coffee.
very and
the
coffee. Right? It's
sides?
very
Don't forget
welcoming.
the
It's very
sides.
relaxed. At the same time, it's extremely safe. So we do push safety. We it really allows them to be themselves. It allows them to interact. It allows them to network, and it's an amazing opportunity for folks to meet each other. I mean, many members have never met before; they don't know of each other, and uh, gives them an opportunity not only to shoot their own guns, but they could try their friends' guns. And I'm not even talking about newbies. Newbies, that's a completely different group of people. These are the people who would be super, super afraid. They would walk into a store very timid. They don't know what questions to ask. So now you're starting to introduce them in a very, very comfortable environment to firearms, again, in a very safe way, where they could learn the basic and fundamental techniques of marksmanship, but also self-defense and the laws. And there are a lot of laws in New York, and no one judges anybody.
Nope. Nope. No,
Gayle,
you're
what was
right.
your experience? Yeah.
My experience was very much the same. I started it in Chicago just a little bit before Greg's chapter, and we had maybe 35% of people that were avid shooters, and the rest were very new. So I'm lucky that I have three other instructors with me, and we just took it step by step. And I gotta say, the women take it the most serious, and they're loving it. A lot of people, even the men, a lot of people, after they get the experience and after they learn, they want more. They want more, and they ask everybody, well, what do you use? Can I try this? Can I try this? And how do you carry in shoal, yada yada. And it's been a very comfortable environment. It's been a very comfortable, gentle, I would say gentle, easy environment that people are just welcoming and friendly, and it's very organic. It's very, very organic, and people help each other too.
Let me ask you this. I heard this morning that a young student, I forgot, I think Georgetown University or some such in Maryland, he's suing the state where the county, I'm sorry, Montgomery County, where there is a ban to carry in places of worship.
Yes.
And he was suing the county. He's suing the county for allowing people to carry guns in the synagogue, and he's pretty kind of convincing in his arguments. What do you think? Do you study? Did you study the law? Did you consult with rabbis regarding the sorry, carrying guns in the synagogue?
I can take that one, and Gail, you're welcome to take over
No,
after
go
me.
ahead, please.
So just last weekend rather, I had a class. It was the class for Chabad of Rybrook. So the
Yeah.
head rabbi of Chabad of Rybrook, New York, brought 7 people with him, and we had a private class for the weekend. It was impressive, and I could tell you, at least on the Chabad side, the rabbis seem to embrace it, and I think they understand. They understand the importance of folks to be armed, but not only armed, but properly trained to make sure that folks can help protect the synagogue. In addition to that, there are a number of organizations like CSS, for example. It's a volunteer group that goes around and helps synagogues to really secure themselves. They don't have to be armed. They actually don't force any armed security guards. Um, and at least in my area, a number of things have happened. The Tree of Life synagogue. After those events, at least the local rabbis seem to be very on board. So much so that at the last Purim, for example, we asked our rabbi if we could search bags for the congregants who were coming in. And I thought we are going to get a huge pushback. I mean, Chabad is extremely welcoming. They don't want to make it very difficult for congregants to come in. And to my surprise, my rabbi, shout out to Rabbi Benji, basically said, absolutely, do whatever you need to do. I want to make sure everyone feels safe.
No,
I
it's
must, yeah.
it's wonderful.
I wanted to say that the very fact of people knowing of Locks and Loaded becoming part of the mainstream news right now, not mainstream media, mainstream news so far. So people are talking about it, and people who have thoughts, you know what I'm saying, thoughts, they know that they may encounter very and welcome, welcome. If they try to enter and wreak havoc on people who want nothing but to pray in a place where they come for years and years, and sometimes for generations. And you have to be of a special mind to do such thing. That's my opinion. But almost in the beginning of our program, now we know what you're about, what your organization is about. It's not restricted for people outside of the Jewish faith, or
Correct. It's all inclusive. It's all inclusive. We don't ask questions. We do have a security IT system that can obviously check as people enroll, but just to make sure everything's on the up and up and nobody's using anything from overseas. But we are all inclusive.
What do you mean
And I
using
just
anything from overseas? Oh, sorry, guy.
Like a bad credit card, something that doesn't match their
Uh
names.
huh. I see.
I just wanted to add that in addition to members who might not be of a Jewish faith, we have instructors across the country who are not of Jewish faith. They themselves have reached out to GAIL and wanted to be part of it.
Yep.
Listen, what changes when person gets introduced to a weapon that he has access to 24/7, that he depends on as a last line of defense? How people change? Have you any thoughts in this department? Is it kind of heavy on the psyche? People think about the safes. Is it easy enough to open? Is it strong enough not to be broken into? If I misplace the key? All those kinds of agita people tend to get when they think about something persistently not very pleasant thing to do, obviously.
And
how
we
how
go
does
through
people manage?
I can tell you from my side is that we're the chapters take place in the range. So the ranges have stores. So a lot of those stores have safes and different ways to carry, different holsters, different
Hmm.
mechanisms. Greg's a great example because he has a wonderful store in Yonkers and he has a very good selection and a very good staff that can explain and help people in that process to feel safe. We don't make Locks and Loaded doesn't make you go buy a gun. We teach you firearm safety. We teach you. We don't make you do anything.
Hmm.
You're no matter what chapter you're in, you just want to kind of check it out and become a member and dip your toe in there. That's perfectly fine. What's great is, and what makes Locks and Loaded is you have so many members, from men to women, old to young, big and small, and there's so many different ways to carry, to handle, to store their weapon. And that, just people talking about it in a very safe environment, that lets the pressure off. Do you agree, Greg?
I totally do, but I just wanted to address one question that Yuri has asked regarding how does it change people.
Yep.
So, excuse me, New York laws, we call them draconian laws when it comes to firearms. So here it's difficult, and for the
Mhm.
most part, if somebody, God forbid, uses a firearm, usually negative things happen. It's expensive. There might be an arrest. During the 18-hour class, that's the required class that folks have to take, and that's the class that I teach. We go over all those laws. And one of the biggest things that I try to teach is once you get a gun, it makes you a different person. And it makes you a different person from the perspective that now your goal is to never use it unless your life absolutely depends on it. A gun is a tool of last resort and it should be used as such. So if somebody cuts you off, for example, when you're driving, okay, well, it is what it is. Somebody shows you middle finger as you're driving. Yeah, I agree. I'm number one. I want to get home safe. So none of those things matter anymore. You want to be invisible. You want to go through life, and only when your life is in absolute danger of severe bodily harm and there's nowhere else for you to run, because New York, we have duty to retreat law. We don't have stand your own ground rules like California, I'm sorry, like Florida, for example, or Texas. We have to do everything we can to hide, to escape, to evade, to de escalate before we use a firearm. Again, this is the biggest lesson that we try to translate to all of our students. And interestingly enough, everyone comes out with a completely different mindset.
Yep.
Gail, let me ask a question. Just a question of you. Every person sometimes in their American journey think of starting some sort of a movement, some sort of organization, or a business, or league, or something, a football team, you name it. What was your way to overcome the hurdles that were in your way when you thought about this
There's
whole thing?
still a lot of hurdles. There are still hurdles. There will always be hurdles. It was very important to me to be able to save a life. Um, I don't hold a giant degree. I don't have any money. I'm just outside of Chicago, and it was a little bit of something that I could do to make the world a safer place, and maybe, just maybe, be able to give somebody an extra 5 seconds to react and an extra couple seconds to take cover, to run, or to defend themselves. If there's that old saying, if you save one life, you save everybody's life. That's what I was trying to do. I'm a very peaceful person. I don't have a lot of anger, but I knew after October 7th, I knew how the media and how just the world was taking it. I knew it was going to bleed into here, to bleed into the United States, just because of social media and whatnot. And you know, it was a bet I made. I knew it. I felt it in my gut, and this was the only way that I could be able to save a life. I could think of saving a life. I don't believe. I mean, I don't believe. I shouldn't say that. There's only so much protesting and marching you can do. And it's a solution, and it's an action to set deterrence and let everybody know that there's a club out there, and we're wearing this, or we might not be, but we're training and we're learning how to defend ourselves.
Oh.
Well, we wear this.
Or you were that.
Most of us. Yep.
Fantastic.
But it's an important. If I could, if Greg and I and the rest of the chapter leaders, all 63 of them, if we can give somebody the confidence and the skills to be able to give them up extra couple of seconds to get out of there and to defend themselves, we did our job. We did our job. Whether you call it a movement or an idea or a club, we're in the process of setting deterrence and saving lives.
I think that on the whole, we have a very Americans today have a very perverse relationship with their Second Amendment, and by Second Amendment, which is equal to the First Amendment, you don't need any laws. You don't need any laws to limit your speech. So basically, there should be no law that would limit your ownership of a gun. But in practice, we see what's happening, right?
Yes.
So all amendments are created equal, and even the Fifth Amendment is popular now, thanks to Dr. Fauci. It used to be popular before as well. But what interests me is, do people of other lines of religious thought come to your range? Like Christians, and Christians have very special relationship with arms as well.
Yep. Well, we have I would say, I don't know, up in New York, but I can tell you that we have some wonderful chapter leaders that are Christian, are Catholic, and are Baptist, and they love doing this, and they invite their other students. They tell people, "Hey, I'm running this club. This is what it is. Come join us. It's a really good deal. I'm the instructor's there. You get to shoot for a great price, and you'll get some instruction and meet some people, and that's they come. I can tell you, this Saturday I have 4 or 5 people that are not of Jewish faith that love coming to Locks and Loaded. They love the instruction, they love the people, and it's a good exercise for them once a month.
And the locks is good too. So
I don't serve locks at that one. That's Greg's. You got to go see Greg.
okay, Greg, it's closer to where I'm at. Listen, but why I asked this question partially? It's a general interest of mine, of course. But also, a friend mentioned to me that he went to a shooting range. He's a religious Jew. He was wearing a kippah, and he was wearing something that is he likes showing his religion, so showing his colors uh, to the outside world. And thank God in America it's allowed. But next to him was a young man with a Palestinian flag on his shirt and the Free Palestine or from the river to the sea, that kind of nonsense. So he was thinking, what may happen in a situation like this. So what do you think? Is it?
So,
Go ahead, Greg.
yeah. Yeah, I think, and of course, this is pretty extreme. I've never seen, especially in New York here, because that's where I like to swim. I've never seen anyone coming in with political left side, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, the left side of political messaging to any firearms related activities of any sort. I've never seen a Palestinian flag at a range. I've never seen, somebody all of a sudden protesting. Um, so I don't know. But you know what? To be completely honest with you, if, for example, this would happen at our range, be it. As long as you don't encroach on my area, as long as you don't come in into my range, you can do whatever you want to do. And that's the lesson that we teach. It's irrelevant. You do you. We do what we need to do, and we need to stay safe.
No,
Yeah.
it's not Greg's right. I mean, we do have freedom of speech. Everybody has freedom of speech. Um I get asked this question a little bit differently about why our chapters are safe. It takes a special kind of person with the nonsense on their brain to walk into a gun range with that nonsense and with the idea, because it's not just the locks and loaded people that are there. Greg works at a wonderful Greg. He owns a Vintage Arms. I mean, you can tell those people are armed and it's open, and it would be a very, very stupid move to come into a gun store or gun range with that kind of attitude. That's You're not going to win.
Yeah. No, let's see, because one thing is certain about throughout the human history is that people feel better when they're prepared.
Yep.
That's the only thing we can do. And as one famous poet once said, we just can collect the wood, and then God comes and let us sit by the fire, brings the spark to make it happen. Our thing is to do what's best for where we are right now, and then go into the future. But what's your relationship with the organization like NRA? How do you interact with
We
them?
have a
Gail,
very
that's
good
all you.
We have a wonderful relationship with Doug Hamlin and the NRA. It's not your grandfather's NRA; it's a new NRA. Uh, since Wayne LePierre is no longer running the NRA, the members, if you're a member of the NRA, you are very well taken care of. Your money is not going for yachts and vacation homes.
Hmm.
Through that other period, the NRA, and I learn every day. It was the very first civil rights company organization back in 1871. They started and they were for the Second Amendment, which is civil rights. When you break it down to it, which is constitutional rights. They're fighting for not just the white man's privilege. They're fighting for everybody's privilege. They're fighting for every state. You hear the phrase, it's the divided states of America. They're the ones that are trying to bring everybody together. Now, people go, "Oh, well, it's about guns." Well, guns are mentioned in the Constitution. Firearms are mentioned in the Constitution. Our forefathers knew that was it was important, and the NRA has been very gracious to Locks and Loaded. If I have questions, if I need some support, I call one number and I get that support. If the members need some support, they're there. They're the ones that are not only letting America and internationally know that they support us, but they're trying to make it as easy as possible to open up new chapters all over.
How many states now have your chapter?
23. No, 24. Sorry, Kansas, 24.
Wow. Let me show you the map. I have a
Chapter.
map ready from your website, Locks and Loaded. This is the website I'm ready to do what? Where's this banner? Okay, hold on. Technicalities, updates, this kind of stuff. I have this here, and now the map. Here's the map. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's a
No,
background.
that's a background. Okay, it's not showing what I see on. Hold on. Let me remove. Share. Okay, let me figure it out while you'll be answering my next question. What was that? I hate when things like this happen. I forget my next question. Yeah, that's my next question. Took me very little time. You mentioned that there are draconian laws for owning guns in New York, in particular, in many other states. But how does it reflect in the situation of actual number of guns owned by the population? Does it mean that if it's so hard to get a gun in New York, it means that there's not too many guns in the hands of people who are kind of have different ideas than ours in this regard?
Well, it depends who you ask. If you're talking about somebody who doesn't want to follow the law, apparently it's very easy to get a gun. I'm
Yep.
not aware of these channels. However, if you're a law abiding citizen, granted, it's not difficult to get a handgun license. It's all time. Everything is time. New York is making it very difficult and, make it sound like it's impossible. On top of it, the laws themselves make it such that law-abiding citizens think more than 10 times before they make a decision to carry a gun with them because well that's wonderful, I can carry a gun, and then what? I can't use it. Well, yes, you can. You just need to know how and when, and again, these are the things that we try to teach.
Absolutely, very well said.
It was my feeling that New York is, say, New York City is stuffed with illegal guns. A lot of people have guns that they didn't pay for. They didn't license them because it's too cumbersome, or they have something in their past that may be very minor, but that would create problems for them. And of course, the criminals, they never apply for license. So thinking that the laws affecting in this regard the peacefulness of the population, it's one of the biggest mistakes people make. So just as when you see a sign, drug-free zone, or you see a gun-free zone sign, it's the same thing. It's an
So
invitation,
sorry.
in first case, to
Yep.
sell drugs. In second, to wreak havoc and start violence. Because nobody would answer to this. And I think about the times when in schools, kids would come, the high school kids in the United States would come to the class, and they would leave their little trucks open, with open windows, and they would have a rack behind them
Yep.
with a small caliber gun, and they would go for a class and then come back and maybe shoot some possum or some squirrel in the south.
They would
And
hunt before school. That was I have friends that grew up in Texas, and you would get up really early, and you would hunt, and you would throw it in your car, your truck, put your shotgun on that rack, go to school,
Mhm.
clean it when you come home.
I read
Well,
about the grandmas who would shoot some squirrel and make stew,
Yep.
for their boys and girls when they come from school.
oy vey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, there are a number of schools in New York that have in their basement shooting ranges because
Yep.
that used to be taught at school.
Yep.
Not anymore, of course.
Yeah, we have to agree. We must agree that it makes better people when you control the situation this way, not letting people just go and, oh, gun, let me have one, instead of going through the practice, going through some psychological uh, non-medical evaluation, just by the reaction of your teacher, who would tell you what's right thing to do, what's wrong thing to do, and your instructor, I mean, and then go and become the proud owner and Second Amendment person in a society that has it as one of the main laws. And it's very interesting the attitude Americans towards guns. And today we have in a situation where there's a world peace idea. Every time when I'm asked by customer service what I can do for you at the end of conversation, I say world peace, please. So that kind of
That's right.
it's, but we are no closer to that because of personal responsibility that people decided to delegate to the authorities, basically. And this is the first step towards personal responsibility, not some, good credit history, which is also important, but the fact that you are. By the way, is it like single people or family people who come to become your members?
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, we have families. We have It's hilarious. I get husband and wives. I have
Yep.
husbands and wives and their children.
Yep.
It's like a family event. So one thing I guess that needs to be highlighted is locks and loaded. At least on the New York side, It's not set up to make money. Okay,
Mhm.
so the cost, there is a small yearly fee that gets charged to Locks and Loaded headquarters. And for every event that we sponsor or we hold, there's a very small fee just to cover my range fee, which usually is a lot lower than if you were to go to the range by yourself and spend time there. So, and on top of it, you have an amazing group of people that you could chat, share ideas, break a
Share
bread.
guns, share ammo,
That's
share
right.
targets.
Oh, yeah,
No, we get
absolutely.
we have bubbies, we have grandparents, we have the older generation, and when I say the older generation, I'm talking 65 to 90. They're the ones
Wow.
that have been around, that have seen history. And I'm a big fact person. I'm a realist person. I follow the facts, I follow the data. You see what happens 100 years ago. You see what happens when people come to take your guns, and when people start with the anti-Semitism. We're making it clear that nope, you're not going to take our firearms.
Yeah, that's a big step, and nobody would learn this in a high school or middle school or the
Anything.
anywhere. Yeah, because that's something that was used to be embedded in the psyche. And what was the relationship of American Jews throughout history? Can you just with weapons? Mm. Was there something like leagues for Jews? We know the
Yeah,
Jewish
there was
Defense
that's
League, of
my
course.
my grandfather had his own. That's how I got the idea. My grandfather, when I was 8 or 9, younger, he had in an old range at the basement of a bowling alley where you smoke and drank and shot your guns. It's probably 15 yards long, but that they would meet every Sunday morning. Or
Hmm.
every other Sunday morning, and they would shoot, and they would, remind each other. They were World War II vets, and they wanted to keep sharp, and they wanted to make sure and help everybody else. So never again is now. If he was alive and saw what was happening, I guarantee you he'd be right by my side doing the same thing.
Yeah, because people love talking about the good old times, and it was not like that. And I trust him, but I say, listen, how then you're a nice person, and I came to this country 30 years ago. I came to live in America, and I tried my best to keep the place America, not to kind of. I have my own ideas. I came from very rich combination of Odessa, Tashkent, Uzbekistan, American relatives all my life. Started reading early. And knew a lot about this country. I have a lot of my family here coming in the beginning of the 20th century. So the idea of being here one day was not alien to me. But here, the idea of people living here in peace, we don't need any weapons, and look where it got us after all this time. A lot of people didn't have any much illusions, too many illusions, so they would be prepared, and they would just enjoy Second Amendment, not for any how they call it, preppy kind of thing,
Prepping,
uh,
yeah.
prepping, yeah. But just using the freedoms, the liberties allowed by American way of life. But now is the time that is telling to look into the situation and very closely and see where you fit and how it goes. Because everywhere you go, if you say you live in New York and you complain about crime and dirt and this and that, if you go out into some other place, the crime may follow you in a way. So that's the situation, unfortunately, very unfortunately. But looking with your eyes open on this, you can tell that certain permissiveness didn't give us much benefits in our immediate future. What's your thought about the future of this kind of interaction, humanity, so to speak, versus the symbol of weapons of war, as they call it?
Go ahead, Greg.
I'm not really sure how to answer that question because the future is now. We seeing what's going on. We seeing what's happening with the socialist, the Democrat socialist movement. It's scary. I mean, it brings me back to the days of the Soviet Union, and I'm petrified as to the direction we're going. I'm hoping and I'm praying that the right minds will prevail, but the way where we're going and the education system, it's really not helping. So, am I saying go ahead and arm yourself? And no, not at all. You have to do it absolutely level-headedly. If you do make a decision to carry or have firearms, absolutely train. It's 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 a crutch in the way. I mean, it gives you some sort of feeling of some control if God forbid something happens. But with that being said, you have to train. You have to make sure you have the right head on your shoulders. And especially in New York, you really have to think there are some ethical responsibilities and there are some, standard responsibilities that you have to
The
take
state's
before you
against
use a
you.
firearm.
Yeah, the state's against you. Period. Even if you were in your house and you had 12 people kick in your door and you had to use your all 12 rounds, the state will prosecute you. You will find
10,
yourself
10
in
rounds.
jail.
10, New York, 10
Oh yeah,
rounds.
sorry, 10 people. You're right. Sorry, 15
Yeah.
over here. I know,
Right.
15 over here. But
15.
that 15, 1-5. We get 5
Well,
Mhm.
more.
Uh,
hopefully with the New Jersey ruling, we might be moving in
Yeah.
that direction soon. So
I really do. I see a lot. I don't know if you know, but if you look me up, I'm the lead plaintiff for Illinois. We're suing the attorney general, myself and the NRA and another firm. So if you look up Pearlstein versus uh what's his name? I can't even remember the agenda, but you'll see it. I'm the lead plaintiff about the 72-hour waiting period. So
mhm.
I think with the administration, with politics, with how everything's moving, I feel very good about it. We do have an election coming up in November, so I think Illinois is starting to wake up a little bit. I really do. With the taxes and whatnot, I think it might be a little bit different. But people back to the 2A faucet. I think that we are, and by the way, my grandfather is from Odessa, so they know. I tell Greg that all the time. So
mm,
you know we're, even though you might only have a pistol with 10 rounds in it, that's a lot better than some other countries, and that gives you 10 seconds, 10 more rounds of defense, if you might, than some other countries like in Europe that you can't. You can't have a firearm. Period.
You've seen what happened in Australia.
Yep.
It's insane.
Sitting ducks. So I don't want anybody, whether you're Jewish or not. I don't want anybody to be a sitting duck, whether it's because of where you're from, what color you are, what religion you are, who you sleep with. I don't care. I want everybody to exercise their Second Amendment and be able to protect themselves. Period.
yeah, that's absolutely wise recommendation, and that's again, it's the cornerstone of our country, and founding fathers knew 250 years ago
They did.
what they're going to be dealing with, and when they knew that what is called freedom, it's hard to control, and if citizens are not smart enough, republic, if you can keep it, as Ben Franklin famously said, right? This is the duty of a keeper of a republic to participate in fortifying this edifice, beautiful building of American democracy,
They
American
should.
republicanism. So that's the way to buy into this whole thing, literally, and enjoy along the way
These
the whole
people
process.
that think socialism and communism is the key, I invite them to go to any one of those countries for a month and let me know how that works out.
I just said on my stream the other day, Greg, I'm sorry, just a short apropos, I think, kind of, that people believe in the snowman, they believe in climate change, they believe in no one went to the moon, etc. But they cannot believe that they cannot believe that socialism and communism are deadly. They keep kind of defending it and defending it and defending it without so many so much money spent to prove and to show how it is. And we who came from socialist, communist background, socialist, communist countries, it's the same thing basically. It's
Yep.
just by mistake bad habit. Gotta get rid of it. But the communist countries, they gave great lesson to all of us, to humanity. A lot of people sacrificed their lives, sometimes unknowingly, for being made an example of this attitude. And when we see it coming to this country, it's absolutely intolerable to see. It's not immediate reaction to communism. Just protecting your family, your life is the first, I guess, the impulse here. But in general, this is where it goes. Hitler was against arms owned by the population. Bolsheviks were against that, banned it immediately. Hitler banned it immediately. Soviets banned it immediately. So that's how it is, Greg. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, you didn't interrupt at all. I just wanted to make sure you started off the program with, people afraid to carry in places of worship, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
just want to go back to that really quickly
Yeah.
because it's extremely important. There is a law, at least in New York. Again, I'm from New York, and New York laws are very, very specific. Based on the book, the law states that's one of the sensitive locations you can't carry. There is a loophole. If your clergy, it doesn't have to be a rabbi, it could be a priest, a pastor, or whatever, if they give you a permission or you quote unquote get on their security staff, you absolutely are allowed to carry. And I truly encourage you have a conversation with your rabbi.
Yep.
There are I know number of synagogues that completely against having anyone carry a firearm. I have a problem with that. I have a
Yep.
problem with that because you want to have people feeling safe. There needs to be some sort of protection, and just being in a crowded room, being what Gail called a sitting duck, that's not the approach. And
No, and no, let me
we're
touch
no
on
longer
let
right.
me
We're
touch
no
on
longer
Greg.
those Jews on our knees anymore. So
Yep.
and that's something that people have to remember.
100.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg. 100%. You know, I'm not going to get into logistics. Greg's 100% right. I didn't mean to interrupt his last part. The if you're looking at costs, training, getting proper licensing and buying a firearm is a lot cheaper than getting bulletproof glass all over your church, all over your synagogue, all over wherever you want to pray. It's a lot cheaper. It is a lot more cost effective to get all the above than steel doors, than hired security. There are certain federations, certain organizations that do have federal money. We won't go into all of them, but that federal money isn't. I don't see it protecting anybody. I don't see it helping anybody. I mean, I always say follow the money. That's kind of just where I'm at. And if you follow the money to get bomb-proof windows, to get bomb-proof doors, to hire real security, not sleeping grandparents with a gun that are falling asleep in their car or in the hallway, but to hire actual security, you're looking at $70 an hour per security person. Just that, when in essence you can drop, and I know it's different in Chicago than it is in New York. For under $1,000 you can get your license, you can get training, you can become a locks and loaded member and be proficient. And that's one person. Just think about if 2, 3, 4 people of the synagogue or the church do it. You're more proficient, and you're more secure than certain organizations not providing security measures.
Preparing for this conversation, I called one rather prominent member of Jewish community here in Brooklyn, and I know him for his courageous stance against anti-Semitism and in general decent man, and he absolutely categorically declined to participate in this conversation. And I think this is the most dangerous thing to do, to avoid conversations like this, because we had our moments here, but he said categorically, "I won't be part of this talk." So that's important thing to know, that some community leaders, they prefer to just be like a ostrich situation, just put their hands in the sand and not to notice what's going on around us.
Yep.
We got to do some steps, and this is one of the most reasonable steps I ever heard.
That's true, but I guess in his defense, if he's a spiritual leader, he has to cater to both sides, and I've seen that before where they try to stay neutral. In today's society and what's going on in the world, it's very difficult to stay neutral, and he just sends the wrong message in general.
But come and prove us wrong. That's what I mean. Just not you cannot not to participate. This is called community leadership
I
and
have
leadership in general.
not to call anybody out, but I know there are members all around Locks and Loaded that happen to be clergy, rabbis, cantors, that do not want that to be known, and we don't. We it's full of amenity. I'm not going to say anything. I think it's important. I think everybody should take their. I don't make anybody do anything. I know Greg doesn't make anybody do anything that they don't feel comfortable doing. We just open a solution. We're here to talk. We're here to help. At the end of the day, if you're a clergy, a rabbi, if you're part of the team and you're in control, I don't know what the word is, but you're the leader of a congregation. You need to think about everybody's life. Doesn't have to be political. If you want to save lives, being Jewish is about saving lives and preserving lives, and this is one of the things you can do very inexpensively than buying everybody a body armor suit.
Absolutely. And do you have any Israelis joining your
Yeah.
your events?
Mm.
How are they different from others?
You know them,
Are
Greg.
they treat weapons differently? What's the attitude in general?
So let's clear the air. I want to make sure again, New York. I'm sorry, I'm very centric here. We don't
Centric.
use word weapon. Okay,
Okay,
so when you use a word weapon in New
I
York, it
stand
implies
corrected.
intent. No, it's okay. So we refer to them as guns, as firearms, as pistols. Okay, and that's
Okay.
something actually that NRA teaches as well. So yeah, we have Israelis. We have a lot of Israelis, as a matter of fact, come, and
Mhm.
the reason they come, again, they feel comfortable. They have a funny accent. They might not speak English very well. They get ridiculed whenever they go somewhere else. We don't. We don't care. We want you to enjoy it. We all in this together. We all, in the same club. They're trying to, provide the same message to everybody. and they feel comfortable. And frankly, it's really remarkable to see people go ahead and start speaking Hebrew in the middle of the shooting, group range. In addition to Israelis, we have a lot of IDF lone soldiers. I don't know if you know those. Those are the guys and girls who pick up their stuff, especially after October 7th, from the United States and schlep over to Israel
Hmm.
to defend Israel. And unfortunately, there was last Wednesday I was in Long Island at
Yeah.
a IDF event. It was a lone soldier event. It was remarkable. It was fantastic to see all these young people who came back from Israel. A lot of them suffer from PTSD, and the whole idea of these groups is really to get them involved and get them talking. And unfortunately, one guy shortly after the event committed suicide. We can't prevent this, but the goal is to try to do this. And again, this organization, Locks and Loaded, provides this way for anybody. I mean, we have Israelis who just came here, and they are still shell shocked, and they could calmly talk about firearms and practice and not worry about what they're wearing, whether it's Star of David or yarmulke or tzitzis. Like I said, super welcoming.
Super welcoming. No, that just happened in Long Island. Both chapters are run by IDF lone soldiers. Very, very nice guys. It's very, like Greg mentioned, it's very important for them to talk and be with the community and help the community. It's very therapeutic, I think is a good word. I think it helps them with their PTSD. When you join Locks and Loaded, whether you join Greg's chapter, the Long Island chapters, the California chapters, you are helping these lone soldiers and the IDF. We do a lot with Israel and the IDF. We try to.
Thank you so very much. What do we want to say in conclusion? I guess we are covered a lot of territory in our conversation here, and I apologize for my not knowing the right lingo.
You're fine. You're
The
fine.
lingo
Yeah,
is fine. Not
Yeah.
many
I
people know it,
learned.
and
It's part of
that's
my
why we
job as
teach.
interpreter
I
during the day.
appreciate this being in English. I really do.
I promised. I promised.
It's all good.
Listen, thank you so very much, and it's a very joyful and very pleasant conversation for me, and very important too, because this is something that you need to you start talking about, and people start thinking about it, because there's a lot of going on of things that going on here in American life that we try to straighten up, and that's one of them. Our relationship with the firearms.
Well, I
If
appreciate
I'm
you having us.
Yep, thank you. Absolutely. I just want to leave your listeners with one message. If you want to learn more about Locks and Loaded, if you just want to learn about the gun laws, reach out. Reach out to Yuri. He knows how to put you in touch with either myself or Gail. We're more than happy to go over the details if you're ever interested in applying for a handgun license. Again, very open. We do this day in and day out. I teach at in Yonkers. We do security guard schools. Like I said, we pretty much do A to Z that's needed for firearm licenses in New York, as well as other states. But let's concentrate at least in New York.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. Everybody, here's a map. Attention. Here's the map. Find your state. The blue color indicates a state that has a chapter of Locks and Loaded. Locksandloaded.org is the name of the website. Please take a look, familiarize yourself, and with the content, and act accordingly.
And also, if you're in the state that's white, you might want to volunteer, and maybe you have some firearms training. You could volunteer to. It's actually not volunteer, but volunteer to be a leader and open
Yeah.
up a chapter in a state that's currently not there.
Greg did. Greg reached out to me. It was wonderful. And it all karma's very important in this. The Jews have a word called tzedakah, and it helps, and it comes back, and it's the right thing to do. You can go on our website. You can email me directly. You can email Greg, and this nice gentleman knows how to get hold of both of us.
Absolutely. And I will
I mean,
gladly help if somebody reaches out to me, and I will connect people with you. Thanks, and see you again.
thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Good luck. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
what